Welcome to the current. In construction, there's a big difference between talking about projects and then actually delivering them. Because once you move past the drawings, the plans, you're into the difficult part. The coordination, the pressure, the timelines, and ultimately the responsibility. And that's really where the real work happens. Today's guest is someone who lives exactly in that space every day, working across retail, commercial, and large-scale refurbishments, from Selfridges to BBC, even to Wimbledon, delivering projects that require both technical understanding and real-world experience. Adam, contracts manager at Hayden Carr, a business known for taking on complex projects and seeing them through end to end. Adam, welcome to The Current. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. You, Blaze?
I'm well. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. We're looking forward to unpack your journey and some of the insights and lessons that you've learned along the way. But just to begin, for someone who hasn't come across Hayden Carr before, what does the business look like today, and what is your role as contracts manager involved?
So the business as Hayden Carr started in 2007, primarily for support of our sister company, Shaka Construction. Shaka are a civil structural building contractor, and the owners of Shaka saw a gap in the market for a company to then take on following their shell and core. Not sure what happened there.
You're back.
Yes, I am back with you. I'm not sure what happened there.
Might have been connection. Have you got many tabs open in the background? Because sometimes Riverside can be a little bit hungry with the...
No, I've only literally got the Riverside apps open.
Okay, cool. It might be okay. It might just be a blip, Maybe it's the hot weather, I know you just get into it as well. But don't worry, we can edit that out. The glory of editing, no one will ever know.
Okay.
So how about we take it from just where I've introduced you already. I've got that bit down already. Just when you just give us a little bit of overview of what you guys do at Hayden Carr. Is that okay? And then obviously your day-to-day role. Is that okay if we can go from there?
Yeah.
Perfect, yeah. So yeah, the intro as well. So Adam, for someone who's listening and who hasn't come across Hayden Carr before, what does the business look like today? And what is your role involved?
So the Hayden Carr business today has morphed from a small contracting business, predominantly from personal housing and private housing, into the commercial retail fit out sector. That's taken around about 10 years. Lawrence Harvey is leading that as our managing director. Over a 10-year period, chose and handpicked five of us to join the Hayden Carr team to start delivering the main retail commercial sector fit outs. We were all originally part of a single team at ISG in the retail division, but we predominantly dealt with bespoke fit outs, one-off fit outs, and then we kind of delivered it from there. So there's five of us now working together, working toward. We've recently amalgamated, and we've taken on a lot larger projects such as Selfridges, BC, and Wimbledon of late. My role as contracts manager is overseeing 50% of the workload. There's myself as a contracts manager and John Lewis as our contracts director. He looks after 50% of the workload. I look after 50% of the workload from an operational point of view. So that is from concept to delivery, handover, including that 12-month period after a project where you're still involved in the project, making sure that the end user is fully aware of what is going on and how the project was actually built.
Amazing. Thank you very much for that overview. Appreciate that. I know in our previous conversation, you described the business in being pretty much able to take on anything from smaller works, like you said, right through to these major refurbishments.
Yes.
What does that actually mean in practice when you're delivering these projects?
So I think the benefit of Hayden Carr and the benefit that our team bring to our client base is, as you quite rightly said, we can deliver £100,000 carpets, curtains, light decorations, few joinery units if needed, up to a £20 million commercial retail office scheme involving, because of our sister company Shaka, involving civils, demos, heavy steelwork install, all the way to Dublin Suites, Eden Suites for the BBC, Selfridges, a beauty hall, where it's one of the largest beauty halls in the UK. So because of our skill diversity and because of the flexibility of our business, where we can have either a single point of contact or the full team delivering a project, it gives us the unique ability to deliver a turnkey solution for the clients that we work with. And I think what is key to our business is we don't just look at a client as a singular project. We build a relationship with that client. Selfridges we've been working with for 10 years. BBC, we're now in our 4th year. Wimbledon, we're now in our 2nd year of relationships. So we look at it as a journey with the client team and the specific client base. We don't just look at it as a project.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, all about building these relationships, thinking of the bigger picture. Now, thinking about some of these bigger jobs, more complex jobs, what do maybe these bigger jobs demand that simpler projects don't quite demand? What's the sort of key differences you'd say?
I think the key differences between a smaller project and a larger project, both demand process, the construction. If you follow a process, it doesn't matter if you're doing a small project or a large project, the process stays the same. You can't paint a wall without a wall being built. You can't build a wall without a floor being built. The differences between is time and what we are seeing more often, and what the client demands is a lot more of your time, depending on the size of the project. And what I mean by time is it's not just on-site time, but it's meetings and design meetings, progress meetings, reports. The industry has become a very report KPI driven industry, if that makes sense, in the fact that everybody needs to understand at any point in time what the project is actually delivering at that point in time. So I think time is a big factor and a big difference. If we are delivering smaller projects, we could probably deliver three projects of 3 projects at any one time as an individual, either that being John or myself. However, on the larger scale, you can only deliver 1 project, because then it becomes, you're not just managing the project, you're managing a team, you're managing the client team, you're managing the supply chain, you're managing the on-site team, you're managing the logistics team, plus all the additional meetings, calls, design workshops, procurement workshops. We're seeing a lot more external visits requested by the client. For instance, recently Selfridges, when we done the original accessories hall 2 or 3 years ago, we had to fly to Spain to pick the quarry and the stone, and we were very, very selective in the stone and the quarries. At another project, we went to Sweden to pick out particular glass and particular door frames. So there's a lot more time consuming exercises when it comes to them larger projects, because everybody wants to ensure that what is being paid for is the right product for the project.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can understand how that would take a lot more of your time. But yeah, at least you get to travel around the world, see a bit of the world. You don't have a problem.
I mean,
Cool things, huh?
it sounds luxurious. When you fly in, you end up in a quarry in the middle of Portugal or Spain or Italy, and then you straight back to the airport and you fly back, and during that period of time, all you see is your emails going from 50 to 250 to 500, and you can't really answer them because you're on the move. So yes, it sounds luxurious, but it can, again, it
Maybe not.
on challenges.
Adam, we know you came through as the trade route. You came as a joiner. I remember you speaking to me previously. How would you say that has shaped the way you now approach your role now, being a bit hands-on?
I believe coming through the trade route, I'm biased because I've come through the trade route. It gave me a more practical way of delivering a project. I understood and continue to understand what the boots on the ground, the operatives on the ground, and the trades on the ground have to go through to deliver the project. So I think it gives a lot more empathy with trades on the ground, and it gives me a skill to be able to talk to the trades, the trade people at site level with an understanding of not just what they need to deliver, but also an understanding of their actual trade. So I think the trade background certainly give me that skill set. I think also trade background, the people learn to overcome obstacles a lot more hands-on. Again, my personal opinion. Whereas when I have grads, undergrads, postgrads throughout my career on site, it very much comes across, this is what the book says that you need to do, so this is what we need to do. And again, there is a time and a place for that. Generally, on the larger sites, I try and mix and have a mixture of a team that is come through the education system, also come through the trade background, in order to give a mixed, varied approach to how to solve a problem. Coming through the academia side, it is always going to be the latest understanding of the latest approved codes of practices, the latest regulations, whereas the trade background will say, yes, we need to achieve that. However, we need to build A, B, and C before we can complete D, E, and F. So for me, it's brilliant having a mix of both, but I also think that the trade background just gives that little bit of an edge because of that hands-on approach, constantly having to adapt to what is in front of them rather than what is on a piece of paper.
Yeah, you're completely right. I always remember the day when the person says, "Oh, it's just like this. Okay, we'll try and do that 100 foot in the air." It's like, it doesn't quite work like that.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Can you? All you've got to do is get a copper pipe down a meter by meter riser. Yeah. But we also need to fix it every 600 to be compliant. Yes. Well, could you let us know how we're going to do that? And again, I think that's where that comes into that mix, exactly what I've just said. So the tradesman, the tradesperson would always come up with we can abseil, we can put steels in, we can put scaffold in, whereas the academia side will be, well, we just need to get fixings every 600 to make it compliant. That's the background. So it's a mix of knowledge coming together to create a positive outcome.
Yeah, I like it. A bit of both, bit of a team that gives a good outcome.
Yes.
I know in our previous conversation as well, we talked about the expectation that people come into the industry, everyone wants progression quickly. Maybe they think about I guess you could say, positions ahead of them. Where do you think that gap has come from?
I think I'm not old in terms of age, but I've got a very old school mindset and an old school head. The fact that all my mentors throughout my life have always been 20, 25 years senior to I am. I think it's become, and I hate the phrase social media, everything is instant. Everything becomes instant. Now you can get your groceries instantly. So I think that is a trend that the current generation coming through, and probably is the generation before that coming through, expects a certain instantaneous career path. And I truly believe that in our industry, in the next 20 years, that they will be, that will cause implications in the fact that we will hit, probably in the next 20 years, we will hit a shortage of people in a top tier position within businesses that haven't actually had the experience to be in that position. They believe that they've just earned it through demands rather than earn it through experience of life. That there was, I'll not name names, but there was a particular person that I had working for me at the previous company, come straight out of uni, 2022, and within his first year of PDR, he said, "Okay, I'm qualified now. When can I be a director?" At the age of 22, he wanted to be a director of a 20 million pound business unit, because he believed that, because he had done the 6 years at college and university, that was his next progression step. And it took 12 months to coach him into understanding that experience experience is needed. Directorship comes with time. I still speak to the chap. He's no longer with that business. He's in another business, and he now understands that he wouldn't be able to make the right decisions because he didn't have the knowledge to make the decisions as a director. So yeah, I think people coming out of uni or even the trade background, again, I'll go on to the trades, that people are serving their time and they automatically want to be a site manager. And I also think this is a flaw that we've got within the industry, that you can go and pay and get your tickets to be a site manager, and all of a sudden they want to be a site manager because they've done their tickets. And again, I think we are fast tracking ourselves through the industry to a shortage of experience because people are getting promoted too early. They need to do those hard yards, those time on site, make those mistakes, because we all understand that making mistakes is how we learn. Delivering a perfect project every time, all you're learning is life is rosy, and we all understand that construction is not rosy. Most days there are challenges that we need to overcome, and it's through mistakes that we understand how to amend them and how to rectify them. I worked for a project director. I'm pretty certain he'll be okay saying his name. Project director called David Ward. I was 24 at the time. Just come out of being an assistant site manager, and he made me into a package manager. So I was delivering a joinery package for a hotel in London, the Intercontinental Westminster. It was around about a £5 million joinery package. I ordered £2 million worth of doors wrong. I stood in front of him like a schoolboy. I said, David, I've ordered the doors wrong. It's about £200 million. Sorry, £2 million. He says, right, Adam, talk us through it. I says, right, we had a cut-off date to get the sizes, the drawings, and the order delivered. He says, right, did we make that deadline? Yes. He says, right, that's a tick. He says, and what is wrong? I says, instead of filtering the doors by smallest, I've filtered them by largest, and I've sent the joinery company the largest size doors, whereas we should have went smaller so we had a uniformity across the hotel. He says, okay. He says, but they're in production. I says, yes. We're going to meet our program. He says, yes. He says, and when do they turn up? I says, 8 weeks. He says, so we've got 8 weeks to rectify 900 door openings. I says, rectify 900 door openings? He said, yeah. He says, fully paying 2 dry liners for 4 weeks to rectify some door openings that don't all need rectifying, just most of them. He says, surely that's going to be more cost effective than cancelling a £2 million order to then replace a £2 million order. He says, Adam, he says, I'm not mad. He says, you made a decision, you've met the programme, you've done exactly what you should have been done. Yes, it's a mistake. He says, but it's a mistake that we can overcome. He says, and the fact that you've come to us, we've spoke about it. He says, it'll be rectified in 2 weeks. Your doors will be fine, and we're exactly where we need to be. And that's the difference. At the time, I'll hold my hands up. I thought I was able and confident enough to manage that package, and it's those little mistakes and those mistakes that we learn from, and making decisions that experience comes with. At 24, and I delivered several large scale projects before that. It gives you that experience to make the right decisions in the time with the right information. And I think that is the skill gap that lacks when people just come out of their trade or just come out of university. They don't have that wide experience to make the right decisions.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that story as well. That's interesting as well. Just a quick question now. So obviously people thinking about bringing people into the business. I know in our previous conversation you mentioned, how much of it would you look for is skill set, or how much of it is attitude? What's the difference? What's the biggest factor?
Personally, I look for attitude. Skill set can be taught, can be mentored, can be coached. Attitude is always a key driver for me, and that is attitude to get to site on time. And on time isn't the time that's set for the meeting, it is 5 minutes before. The attitude to prep for meetings. So when I'm interviewing I always look to, has the candidate done their research on me as an individual, the business as a company, the project that they are interviewing for, because we now live in an age where all of that can be researched quite easily. LinkedIn, Google, even ChatGPT these days, they'll give you most of the information that you want. So yeah, attitude is key. Again, the attitude I phrase it as, would I go to war with these people? Would I want them in the trenches with me? Because again, construction is an industry that is full of highs and lows. And when you hit those lows, you want people around you, with you, supporting each other, making sure that we get back to those highs as quickly as possible. And again, a very old school joiner once taught me, as I was serving my time, that let's get the work done. Let's get the work done and make the back end of the projects easier. We start hard, we start fast, and then towards the end, everything will just fall into place. And again, I've lived by that mantra: work hard, play hard, and touch wood. To date, it has always achieved what we have set out to achieve as one, as a business, and two, as a team.
Amazing. I love it. Work hard, play harder is the old saying as well. I love it. That's some real practical advice there.
Yeah.
We know as well, of course, that you're managing multiple people, multiple teams, lots of moving parts, I guess you could say. What would you say is actually the thing that keeps these things running properly? Is it systems? Is it processes? Or is it mindset? What would you say is a important factor?
I think as a standout item, I think attitude is a key factor. Good communication between, and that is positive communication, negative communication. I think we are in a society that sometimes don't understand that negative communication can actually outlead to a positive outcome. So communication and attitude, I think we live in it. Before I come on the podcast, I was looking at some of the old projects and just getting a refresh of 20 years ago, and 20 years ago, your communication was a fax machine. A fax machine and post. Now you have WhatsApp, email, phone. Everybody's got a phone. We are just about to embark on a system put in place for Hayden Carr that we can send out a text message via an app, and it communicates to everybody. So I don't think that is by chance that these apps in construction are becoming communication led, and by doing so it also brings everybody together and makes you feel part of the bigger picture. It's no longer the person with the most information has the most power. I think we're becoming, as an industry, the more information everybody has, the more powerful that whole site team becomes, and it's very much a level playing field. I think we certainly at Hayden Carr try and keep everybody of an even keel. The person cleaning the toilets, doing the labouring work, has just as much power and say in what goes on as the person leading the project at the top. We make sure that everybody is seen, heard, understood and spoke to make sure that everybody is getting the same information at all times. I think systems and processes then just come into place. The five of us at Hayden Carr all come from ISG, which I think ISG is an industry where we're known for their processes. And yes, there were some good processes, but to have a process, just to have a process in place, then means that you're not honing in or gathering the right information to actually disseminate to everybody. So communication, attitude, followed by processes is what I would say.
Yeah, that makes sense, that hierarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, clear. I think it's clear to see from this conversation that the business is all about people. I mean, just from your conversation there, it sounds like people really are what, well, I guess that's what you call a business, is a collection of people, isn't it?
Yeah.
So communication, that makes so much sense how that is like hierarchy. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah. And Lawrence and John are very much of that sentiment. I think if you were to probably have them on a podcast simultaneous to I, it would be the same message, that people are what deliver projects, not process. People, skill set, good communication, and the right people with the right experience. I trust that Lawrence chose people in a particular order, because he knew that, for instance, I was one of the last to join Hayden and Carr. He probably saw that I needed just that three or 4 years more experience with a tier 1 contractor, a main tier 1 contractor like ISG, before he could then pick the best experience out of me. And then similar to John's 15 years senior to I am. John was one of the first to join Hayden and Carr and joined Lawrence in building up the fit out sector of Hayden and Carr. So it is very much about the people, the experience, the mindset in change and driving projects forward.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Adam. Now, on the topic of driving, I'd like to take you in the back of my DeLorean. I'm going to take you to April 2027.
April 2020.
Now, we're looking back on 2026.
Yeah.
2026 has been a great year for you, for Hayden and Carr, and also for the industry. Now, what would need to happen for you to feel that this year has been a truly successful year, both in the business and maybe even personally?
I think from a business, that it's the old cliche that everybody goes home safe. And that is not just a health and safety card. I think that everybody comes to work to be able to go home safe. You don't come to work for any other reason than to provide for families. So I think that would be primary. Going at the end of every year, I always look back from an operational point of view, and yes, the projects are successful, but making sure that nobody was seriously hurt. So that would be a success. The second from a business point of view was a bit of a tough one. I would say holding on to our existing clients. It's a tough market out there. There's lots of other companies undercutting and shortcutting their way in order to gain clients. So I would hope that retention of our current client base and our delivery of the projects would stand its time throughout 2026. From a personal level, I'm getting more involved in the operational, the full business operational side of Hayden and Carr. So I'd hope that the implementations that we put in place are completed, and we move the business in a new direction again, while retaining our core values. From a very personal perspective, I retire playing rugby in about 6 weeks. So touch wood, I retire unharmed, no real broken bones or legs, and then continue to support the rugby club, because I'm heavily involved in our rugby club as the club captain.
Nice. Amazing. Thank you very much, Adam. And I know if we had this conversation in a year's time, you'd be telling me just how you did it and how you managed to leave injury-free as well.
Yes.
Now, on a rather philosophical question, I always like to throw this at my guests at the end. You know it's coming, but just a quick question. What does freedom mean to you?
Freedom for me is autonomy. Giving people the opportunity to make decisions, make mistakes, and then if those decisions are right and they work, still taking the time to coach and understand, was it an ad hoc decision they made, or was it based upon information, and was it based upon knowledge? Mistakes, I'm a huge believer of make mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. We are in construction. There is very little we cannot achieve to then rectify that mistake. So yeah, freedom for me is autonomy to make decisions.
I like it. Thank you very much. Adam, I just want to take a moment to thank you. Thank you for being some open and honest, sharing your past, I guess you could say mistakes, but the learnings, the lesson, and honestly showing that you really care about people and continuing to put people at the forefront in all you do. And we just want to wish you the continued success that you guys are having at Hayden and Carr, and and have a wonderful rest of the day. But Adam, thank you so much for coming on to The Current. It's been a real privilege. We're looking forward to hear more about what you do in the future. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Blaze. Thank you.